talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you. Oh, hi, Betsy. How are you?
Hey, Betsy. Welcome in.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Let me turn the volume so I can actually hear you. Well, I listen to music through the Spotify app on my laptop, and so the volume has to be down like 10 is great, much louder. They'll hear it in the other room. But to talk to people, it needs to be like 25 or so.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
I get that. I get that. Well, welcome in. I'm really excited about today because we have a guest speaker. I don't know if you guys know him. He has his own school to community, and actually has his own little tea shop as well. And so he knows quite a bit about herbs, and I'm going to let him introduce himself a little bit more. But he actually started using them by needing to use them himself, just kind of like me and probably a lot of people in the community. So it's really nice when, like you start seeing that you might need herbs yourself and you start using them, and then you start seeing the benefits, and things just go from there. So I'm going to hand it over to you. And he's going to be talking about using those herbs and tea to help create those habits. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Daniel, and you can take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary. So yes, I'm Daniel. We started, my wife and I started a tea company called Tea Relief, and we focus on the healing aspects of the herbs. So Um, we have every tea has a story, so that's kind of how we started. So with myself and my wife, we are struggling a little bit with the infertility when we first got married, and that lasted for about 4 years, and it was through just constant trial and error. I know when we were going through with the doctors and stuff, it's like it was just trial and error, try this, do this, whatever, and then I get to the point where the only options is surgery and more drastic measures, and you're like, okay, time out. Like if we do too much of this too quickly, we're not going to have many options left. So it kind of helped us to take a step back and then realize that there were alternatives. I know, like my wife, she's from Uganda, and herbs are very heavily used in Africa because they don't have access to a lot of the modern medicines and things that we have here. So that kind of like started our search to find the natural remedies and things that would help us. So from there, we started looking at the different herbs, and we saw other tea shops and apothecaries, and they were charging like $200-300 for like three ingredients that you could pick up at a supermarket. Ginger root and turmeric and black pepper. Just things like that. So it's like we could do that ourselves, and then I call it the red car effect. It's like if you buy a red car, it's like a very specific make and model, and then you see that everywhere. The same thing happens when you're going through illnesses or some kind of struggle. All of a sudden, you start realizing that I'm not the only one going through with this. I'm not alone. There is, tens and or dozens of people looking, going through the same issues, and then you start seeing it everywhere. And so we started from that, and we said, we could source the herbs, and there's a need. Obviously, we weren't the only ones struggling with this, and then we took off from there, and then we started with a few blends for like endometriosis and hormonal balance, and then it kind of went to like women's and men's libido, and then blood pressure, diabetes, and then we have the full gambit. So that's kind of how I got into herbs. So I'm going to share screen. I actually got a full formal deck. So let's see if we can share. Mm-mm. We only use Teams at work, so it's like, okay, relearn Zoom.
You
Okay,
see it? Okay. All right, great.
I don't know what this is. I have like a new window popped up. No, no. Okay. I'm just gonna show the screen. Can you see
Yeah,
the?
I can see the PowerPoint. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. All right. So today's talk is called Rooted, and I wanted to think of a name that was, herb related, but also like something that's really, for lack of a better word, rooted in helping how tea is used to make habits stick. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why like routines fall apart and what's actually helped me and others keep those habits. So who's this for? So you're already into wellness. You're on, nature's path. I'm sure you have herbs in your cabinet already. You've already tried building a routine. But if you keep falling off, then this is for you. And I want to say up front that this isn't about willpower. It's about design. So if it was about willpower, so this would be something that like you already solved and you already figured out. Planning to get up at like 5 a.m. every morning, you set the tone and or you set the alarm and you're like you're going to do it, but then something came up or maybe you had a late night the day before and it just didn't happen. So if you could get up, you would have already. So that's kind of where we are with like willpower. So I'll say, okay. So this is the loop for habits. The pattern that I see that happens over and over, and I'm guilty of this myself. You start strong, you have a great resolution, life happens. Work gets busy, you get sick, something throws you off, and so you fall off, you fall behind. So instead of just picking up where we left off, sometimes you just start completely over, or you forget to start again, and then you start feeling behind. So that's the loop. So the first step, just naming it out loud, is actually the first step towards breaking this loop. And the real pain that people don't say out loud long enough is that there's a shame in quitting, the shame that people have when they had the best intention starting this habit, starting this ritual, and they got to 2 days, 3 days, and then life got in the way or something happened, and then there's that stop. And so you carry the shame that you carry from all that isn't just that the day that you have it, then you carrying that with you, day after day, week or month. And so when you're trying to restart it, a lot of times that's why when when you're having a habit that you quit, it's like 1 or 2 days, and then before you know it, it's been 30 days and you haven't started the same habit because all that guilt and that shame is just going and multiplying as the days go on. So that's real, and that's why I'm not going to gloss over it. So where this shows up most, the common places that I see this a lot, just just in general, is like fitness, weight loss, especially around like the new year. There's also the morning and evening rituals, anything that really takes a lot of energy to start. The pattern for all this is the same: high intensity out of the gate, a lot of excitement, but it's low sustainability over time. So when you're looking for habits, you want to pick stuff that you're able to just change 1 or 2 things in your daily life. You don't want to go all crazy out, like let's say a habit of reading 15 books a week. Can it be done? Sure, if you do a couple of books a day, but it's too much to take on at one time. So here's something worth sitting with. So a huge part of what we do every day isn't really a decision. It's not something that's decided. It's automatic. So I saw a statistic somewhere that said 40% of all of our daily actions run on autopilot. So this means that habits aren't a character trait. They're not about being a disciplined person or not. It's actually just a mechanism. And the good thing about that is that they can be engineered. So we're going to talk about what makes a good habit. So I pulled this from a book that I like from Charles Doug. It was the Power of Habit, why we do what we do in life and in business and work. And it really boiled down to like three things. There's there's the cue, the action, and the reward. So a trigger will set it off. Then you'll have an action or something that you'll do after being set off, and then you'll do that action with the expectation that there will be some kind of reward or dopamine release at the end of all that. So the thing I want to call out here is that once you recognize that habits are this loop, you're able to you'll be able to see it like everywhere throughout your whole day and in your own life. So, what makes a good habit stick? So, not all habits are built to last. The ones that stick are going to share a few traits. Low friction to start, a reward that shows up quickly, not months after. It's already attached to something that you do throughout your day, and it's small enough to survive a bad day. Like we said in the previous slide, you don't want to start at something that's just too ambitious to go to right out of the gate, such as reading 10 books a week or whatever habit you wanted to start. That's okay. Okay, so I think this one is like a very important slide. So a perfect streak is fragile. One missed day and it feels broken. A consistent rhythm, as you can see here, bends around a missed day and keeps going. So the goal is like never to miss, but it's like always to return. I use this language learning app, Duolingo, and it's all about the streaks. You practice your Spanish, whatever language you want to learn. 5, 10 minutes a day, and you go through your lessons, and then at the end you get this big pop up. It's like congratulations, and then it's like this is your day, and then the owl comes out, and that's like their mascot, and it's like congratulating you. See, you feel good about yourself, but the pressure of every day it just builds up and over time it's too hard, like too much of a letdown to when you miss. So with a habit that you want to keep instilling in yourself and going through, you're going to want to continue it regardless of missing a day. Now let's sit with this for a second. What does staying stuck actually cost you? And it's not just the goal that you don't reach. It's like the momentum that you don't build, the confidence you don't earn, the time that doesn't come back. Staying feels safe, but it's actually not free. So I think the example that I had for this one is that you only get stronger. Let me go back. That you only get stronger when if you're like working out. You only get stronger when you have resistance. So you can think about missing a day like that resistance. And so the return to your habit is actually the rep. That's what's actually going to build the muscle. That's what's actually going to strengthen the habit. So I think it's like a positive thing to track is like track the amount of times you return back to your habit rather than the amount of days that you missed. So it's kind of turning that mental outlook, that framing from a negative to a positive. And then you start thinking that, okay, this is how many times that I returned, and then eventually it'll just be second nature and the habit will be formed so strong that it'll just feel like second nature. So So where do herbs come in? So herbs connect us back to something slower and older, the earth, the season, the planet itself. And that connection is grounding. And that grounding affects your mood. There's a simple practice of grounding. I like to do it in the morning. You just simply just going out and letting your bare feet touch the earth. It just removes all that negativity from you, and it just makes your day so much better. I mean, I've found that having more positive, beneficial effects and long-term energy throughout the day than a cup of coffee. I know others would debate that, but that's how I feel that it's just tremendous. And so that connection is what I use with the herbs, the earth, and the tea. And I feel like that connection itself is grounding, not just the literal like connecting with earth, but just having the teas and sitting with it and smelling the aroma, the grounding affects the mood and feeling well. And when you're happier and when you're more receptive to that thing, that actually affects how much or whether you're going to show up tomorrow. That's what gives you that encouragement that to push through and get those reps in and to build the habits that you want to build. So there's a simple formula. One, you take something that you already like, a tea, a scent, a ritual, and you add it to something that you already want to do. So a new habit that you're trying to build. So we'll take like a nighttime routine. Let's say sleep is an issue or it's a concern. So you'll take like your favorite tea, if it's chamomile or mint. I like my valerian root towards the end of the day, and I'll take it, I'll make it, and I'll sit with it. Now, let's say our habit is something where I want to read a book a week. Now, remember, we're not going to do 10 books. So we want something that we want to do, but it's something that it's a habit that we want to build. So I already like the tea, so I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to add it to reading a book in the evening. So now I'm kind of setting the mood, the cue of that tea, sitting with it, and then starting to read a book. And then it's in that pairing that of that work that actually is going to start making it stick. You're not adding another task. So you're borrowing the pull and the enjoyment of something that you enjoy already. And that makes the connection that you have to that habit even stronger and more likely to succeed. So boil all that down, you get three pieces really. You have an anchor action, your fixed point. So this is like your cup of tea in the morning or in the evening. Then you have your daily habit. So the thing that you want to build, the small behavior that you're pairing with this anchor. And then the part that makes it all stick is having a good consistency, working that muscle, that streak muscle, but also the return after you've missed your daily habit or your thing that you want to do. So here's the whole idea. Herbs and tea aren't the actual habit, but they're the anchor that makes the habit easier to return to. So rooted means staying connected to something steady, so everything else has room to flex. It's a small ritual, but with the real consistency, it's that loop that we started that finally breaks and makes it all happen. So that's where we're at. I'll open the floor up to any questions.
Well, I'll go first while they're if they have any in a second, but I wanted to mention I think this is totally how I live my life in general, but one thing that I notice is a lot of times with herbs, it's kind of like it slowly climbs and then it peaks and then you're at that good spot. And then you forget how bad it is down at the bottom. And so that's when you get out of that routine. And then like I'll stop drinking my tea for a week or two. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel tired. I feel stressed out. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like, oh yeah, like I haven't been drinking my Schisandra berry or I switched to a different, and so it is really great to have those like assessment days too. Like I love that, like oh, what's going on with me? Like, why am I feeling this again to trigger you back into that loop as well? Because with a pill, you're going to notice it when you don't have it one day, but with an herb, it might take 2 or 3 weeks for you to really notice that big change. And so, which is a good thing about herbs, you're not having that yo-yo effect. But sometimes we will miss it, in that short term, we're like, I didn't take it today, no big deal. Your body doesn't cue you yet. And then you're 2 weeks later and you're like, man, I feel terrible. I don't know why, you know. So, yeah, that's
No,
just a
that's
side note.
yeah, and that's a really good point too. I mean, if when you have habits and you're trying to work out something, maybe you have something, an activity that you really don't like, but then you start feeling better. Like diet is a big one, but then when you start feeling better, like, oh, it's just so quick and so easy just to go back to that. My wife calls it bad behavior, eating the cheeseburgers and the pizza and all that, and I kind of think it's funny, but um, yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's,
and you
it's
think that of that as your comfort food, but really what you feel more comfortable with is that healthy food.
mhm.
Like you think of it as comfort food because maybe your taste buds think it is, but at the end of the day, those teas are going to comfort you way more than that burger ever would. And I think some of it has to be switching that in our brain. Like, I want to feel better, so I'm going to go to the herbs. I'm going to go to that teacup. I'm going to sit down and put my feet in nature, and switching that. And then I love that tying it to a routine. I always love to tie things to a routine, even in my work. I work with children with special needs, and I'm always trying to tie those activities to their routine. So it's not like you have to add this on top of all the other things that we are doing in our lives. Add it to reading a book, or maybe, um, you do game night with your kids every week. So we're going to have tea, during that game time. Let's go prepare our tea for our game night. So just adding that. And I mean, getting the kids involved too, or your husband or wife, things like that. It helps the whole family. We're all feeling better, so yeah. Do you guys have any questions, any comments? Like, do you guys tie your herbs to your routine? How does that go? Oh,
I don't know that I really tie it to a routine, but I was kind of laughing when you were talking about why am I feeling so bad? Oh, I haven't had. I can definitely tell if I miss my holy basil more than
mm,
one day running.
yes.
I have found that it does more for to help prevent like the general agitation and everything that I tend to get with some of the cognitive things I'm dealing with than anything, including mental health meds, ever did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I tried St. John's wort, didn't really do much for me, but the holy basil, it's like, wow. Took a while to get used to the flavor. Now I am,
Yeah.
you know.
I
Didn't
did it
take
as
as
a
long as
sub.
it took to get used to valerian root, but it's
Yeah,
a little different.
balance. Yeah. I took holy basil as a supplement first, but I'm telling you, I did pharmaceuticals because I was so anxious. Those were terrible, but um, holy basil was like savior. Yeah,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I went from feeling like I went to the hospital a couple times thinking that I was having a heart attack and it was just
Mhm.
anxiety, to
Yeah.
like being able to make it through the day without feeling that pain in my heart. And I mean, that's serious because you're putting a lot of stress on your heart. Even if it's
Mhm.
not it's not a heart attack, but that's a lot of stress on you. So yeah, holy
Yeah,
basil
it's
was one
one of the
that,
ones that helped me get off of all of the mental health meds
yeah.
because they are all.
Yes, I'll tell you a short story about I tried Pros or Lexapro,
Mhm.
and it had just come out on the market, and of course, I'm a sensitive person, but I didn't mention that to my doctor. I was young, like I didn't know any better. And they put me on, I don't know how much, but it was a lot. And I took it and I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, move your hand. And it would not move. And it was so terrifying to be inside yourself, but not being able to do what you want to do. And I was
Mhm.
trying to tell my boyfriend at the time, like, I need to go to the ER. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the night because I feel like I'm so sedated that I might not make it, you know? And he's like, "You're fine, you're fine." And luckily I was fine, but I mean, that's how serious that can be, just like and I'm not saying herbs could never do that to you because if you took a crazy amount of some herb, that could do that too. But and knowing how much is super important and not mixing too many sedatives and things like that.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But they're so much more mild and they give so much more grace and they're such a full product instead of just this one isolated, shock
Yeah.
factor. So,
Yeah.
and I love how like so many herbs do similar things, but not so intensely that they can't be used together. Like you can put oregano, basil, and thyme all together, and they're a powerhouse of like antimicrobial and all that. But and sometimes we don't even think about it. We're just like, oh, this tastes good. But it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you're also helping your health by adding those wonderful beneficial flavors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now,
I
Wanda,
think
do you have? Sorry, I was just asking Wanda if she had a routine that you like take your or use your herbs, or do you have a garden and you're not using them as much? How's that go for you? Oh, you're muted still. Sorry, I muted you a little bit ago. Oh, let me see if I can.
Mute.
There you
Okay.
go.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yes.
we hear
Okay.
you.
Sorry.
I just started trying to do teas and stuff, but I don't have any routine yet. I did
Okay.
get something from another you thing about for sleep aids to see if that would help with my going to sleep. I can fall asleep. It's the fact of I keep waking up and
Okay.
then have a hard time to fall back asleep. So I did get something that was a sleepy time type thing, but
Hmm.
it's the herbs that I do the brewing and like 15 minutes, let it sit and then doing it. I just haven't quite gotten into the habit of doing it.
Okay. Okay. And I would just challenge you to just try it once. Like, don't say you're gonna have to do it forever. Just try it once.
Right. No,
Um, yeah,
I can't tell if the one time I did it actually worked,
worked.
but it was like trying to get used to doing teas because I'm a coffee person.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I liked the ones I did for my throat. That one worked really well. Unfortunately, I can't do elderberry because it messes with my medication.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be careful for to you only use the ones that they recommend. Well, I asked, can I do this, that, that? And they told me, yes, this, no, no, that. Dandelion, I can't do dandelion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I was trying to get for appetite suppression some bitters, but all the bitters are the ones on my list that I can't have.
Yeah, because they thin your blood. Yeah. Yeah, that is it's like they're so good for you, but then they do interrupt that any type of
But
blood medication.
unfortunately, the doctor couldn't tell me which medication and what would happen or anything like that. He sent it to the pharmacist who sent me back the list. So the sleepy whatever it is that I have, I know I have some lemon. It's got lemon balm in it, and I think it does have the Tulsi basil. But that's all I can remember right now.
I
It
bet
has
it
a couple,
it might have valerian in it, but I don't know. A lot of them
maybe,
do.
and probably the chamomile also.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I have it. I just have to figure out the exact time because I get busy with
Mm-hmm.
my doing different my gardening trying to plant the new seeds and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. So I get busy doing that. And by the time I look, oh no, it's 9 o'clock. Gotta go
Well,
to
and
bed.
you could, this is what you could do is when you're making that cup of coffee, is getting making it then. So make it at the same time, put it in the fridge. And then if you like it hot, you can
Ah,
heat it up that
right.
later, but at least it's ready. So you're like, okay, I can grab it right before bed. You don't have to do it. Put it in your day where you're already like, Daniel's saying like
Okay.
when you're already doing something else.
Well, I already have to stay up until my son makes it home. He doesn't get home till almost 9 o'clock. And
Yeah.
I just cannot go to bed without him being home.
Yeah, no.
Uh, I just
Yeah, I
can't
get
do
it.
it.
Yeah. So maybe like
Uh,
8:30. You could even set a
yeah,
timer on your phone.
that's what I probably need to do is to set my alarms. That's how
Hmm.
I mean, I'm on Monjero, so I have a certain time I put it out of the refrigerator to take it the next day so that it's not cold, and I have it set on my alarm, my phone alarm. So I said maybe if I just start adding that extra, at this time, it'll remind me. Oh, the tea, because I've
Perfect.
started the
Yeah.
tea and it's like I can't gotta let it sit for 15 minutes and it's like 30 minutes later and I need to
Hmm.
be in bed.
Yeah. And that's why like doing it in the morning might be a better fit for you because you're already making your coffee. Like it might, be something you could fit in easier.
Well, actually, I make my coffee at work, so I can
Oh,
bring it
okay.
to work. I'll
Yeah.
think about that.
Yeah.
I try and drink a glass of water on my way to work, and then I get my coffee.
Okay. Okay.
Then I can have my coffee.
Yeah. Well, that's
That's
good.
actually a better way to do it. I've
Yeah.
read that it's better not to have caffeine until you've been up for a little while.
Yeah,
Right.
Um,
at
I
least
forget
90
all the
minutes.
reasons. I just know that it's generally better to give your body a chance to kind of wake up with the sunlight and the whole whatever before
Hmm.
you add in the caffeine.
Yeah.
Um, but something I use for making my teas and not having to make them all the time is I have some of those. They're basically a 2-quart glass jar with a pitcher top. And I'll make up like one that I'll do in the morning with jasmine green tea, and then I'll have the one that I drink throughout the day. And I'll just make up a whole pitcher, and if I want it hot, I can heat it up.
Okay.
Yeah. For
Then
the
it's
week. Yeah.
already made and I have enough, for more than one day.
Yeah. Me too. Like I
It
have.
reduces the work.
And I've been dealing with some sickness this weekend. So I brewed one that I knew was going to help
Hi.
me, through that. And so I can drink that for a couple days, so I don't have to worry about it. And if you're only having that cup before bedtime, that'll last 2 to 3. Now
Right.
don't do past 4 days though, because then the bacteria will take over.
Yeah.
You don't want to
Yeah.
cause yourself to be sick.
No, 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 no. No, I don't
That
need
that
any of
starts the
that.
mold.
You could do it like ice cubes though, if you wanted
Oh, yeah.
to. And
That's true.
like
That's
start to
true.
freeze stuff if it takes too long. But yeah.
Okay. Well, my daughter's here.
All
Hey,
right.
daughter.
Hi. Hi, nice to meet you.
So I'm gonna be driving home now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Daniel, for doing this. This is something that I think about all the time. And I'm always like trying to put it into my routines and things like that, as well. If you want to go ahead and put your link down below, and I'm gonna put it in the community too for your school. And just tell them a little bit about what you do in your school, like what you're doing right now, anything that you have going on over there as well.
Right. Here, got that link in the chat. So,
Stacy just sent something. Said to all of us, it's just me.
yeah, so in my community, we're focused on the habits building, so similar to what, we were talking about today, mostly helping people with, helping them achieve like their habits and their goals, that things that they want to achieve through tea or some anchor habits. I mean, it just doesn't have to be that. I mean, let's see, I've helped somebody with like weight loss. I've helped somebody with um, just, sleep was a big one. I actually had a few people with sleep, and just, whatever you want to do with your habits building. I think if you go to the about page, it's about stop starting over. So it's that constant cycle of getting hyped up for a routine, getting going with it, and then it dropping off and it falling off at some point. So mostly centered around that consistency system that actually makes the habit stick and work, kind of get you from that point A to point B. So I think I've mentioned earlier in my intro, every tea has a story, and there's kind of a tea for everything, and that's kind of the beauty of the herbs. It's like there's literally an herb for anything you may be suffering with or going through, and that leans a little bit into the name that I have with tea relief. Be getting that relief from whatever ails you. I don't think that we should be suffering needlessly just for the sake of it. I mean, there's the way I understand is that our whole body is an ecosystem, and when something is not in harmony and in unity, that's when we get sick. So something's out of balance, something's out of whack. Um, one of the things that I personally am going through with is the chronic anxiety, chronic stress, which I think has a lot to do with the type of work that I do with my 9 to 5. So trying to get out of corporate, but at the same time, it's like this has helped me tremendously in my own journey. And I see so many other people going through that. It's 1,000 different competing priorities and stress, and just it stress is one of those tricky things where it manifests differently for everyone. For for my wife, it may have been like the endometriosis, like that definitely agitates things for her with the hormone balance and whatnot. But like for me, I was getting tremors in the lungs. Like it was getting scary. And then started getting allergic reactions to like everything crazy, to the point where I was even hospitalized last year for like an anaphylactic reaction to just something that I should have never reacted to. And that just kind of was like, okay, that's it. I just no more going and doing crazy things. I mean, I was doing like maybe 4 or 5 cups of espresso coffee a day, and I was
Mhm.
really just out of whack. And so brought
Yeah.
everything back into balance, and just taking it one day at a time.
Now, remind me, do you sell your herbs online or is it just in your local shop?
Yes, I have some online. I'll put the link in there as well.
Do you have blends that you do, or is it just individual herbs? How does that work?
So for the relief specific herbs, so like the diabetes one, for example, that's going to have your Costus ignis plant. It's going to have your Germana leaf. I think there's cinnamon in there as well. So those are like the main three ingredients. I know some of the blends I also add in the black pepper to help with the absorption. But that's those. And then I know there are other blends that have like 2 or 3 things. I know we have one for it's like ashwagandha and mint in it. And so like we have like a couple blends that go really well together.
Hmm.
As far as like the single ones, like we do sell them as like a specialty order. And I think that's something that we will do in the near future, like sell like just like straight up maybe jasmine tea or something. But
Okay.
for now, I think they're all blends, unless we get like a custom esque.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. Well, I appreciate your time. I know we went a little bit over. I always try to give a little bit extra time, a little chit chat at the end. But thank you so much for joining, and I'll post the replay. So if anybody is watching the replay, underneath the replay, I'll add those links so you can head over to his stuff. So thank you, Wanda and Betsy, for joining live. I really appreciate you guys. And thanks again, Daniel. I will see you guys later in the community.
Thank you. Take care all.